For nearly 15 years, my ranch had been supplied by a private water system that I paid to maintain myself. It never served a nearby subdivision, and every pipe sat entirely on my own property. One warm afternoon, I decided to shut the system down for scheduled maintenance. As soon as the water pressure dropped, I heard construction equipment stop near the neighboring development. Workers gathered around a trench, checking pipes and making phone calls. I assumed they had simply noticed the scheduled maintenance. About 20 minutes later, a white luxury SUV pulled into my ranch entrance. Linda Harper stepped out holding an HOA clipboard, insisting I turn the water back on immediately. I politely explained that the system belonged entirely to my ranch and was temporarily offline for maintenance. Linda insisted the construction crew couldn't continue without water. I showed her the utility plans and explained that my private well system had never been connected to the HOA development. The documents clearly identified the line as privately owned. To avoid any misunderstanding, I invited Linda to walk over to the well house. Inside, every control panel, pump, and maintenance log clearly showed the system was privately owned and serviced. I reminded her that routine maintenance was scheduled in advance to protect the equipment. Instead of reviewing the records, Linda stepped outside and made a phone call. A few construction workers watched from across the fence, unsure what was happening. I stayed near the valve station and continued my scheduled inspection. About 15 minutes later, a Sheriff's Patrol SUV arrived at the ranch entrance. The deputy greeted both of us professionally and asked everyone to explain the situation one at a time before drawing any conclusions. The deputy first reviewed Linda's concerns, then asked to see the utility records I had mentioned. I handed over property maps, maintenance logs, and well permits. He carefully compared each document before asking a few follow-up questions. After examining the paperwork, the deputy walked with me to inspect the well equipment in person. The serial numbers, permits, and maintenance labels all matched the records. Everything confirmed the system served only my ranch. Once the inspection was complete, the deputy explained that property owners are generally allowed to perform maintenance on privately owned utility systems serving their own property. Satisfied that everything matched the documentation, he thanked both of us for cooperating and encouraged everyone to resolve future questions through clear communication and verified records. Before leaving, the sheriff's deputy suggested that everyone walk over to the construction site together. If there was any confusion about the water source, it would be easier to resolve by tracing the pipes from the trench back to their origin. The excavation foreman pointed out a newly installed temporary pipeline that had been supplying water during construction. He explained that the temporary line had already been disconnected earlier that morning for unrelated maintenance, which had added to confusion. The foreman compared the construction utility plans with my property map. After checking both documents side by side, everyone could clearly see that my private well system had never been connected to the development's temporary water supply. Linda looked surprised as the engineering drawings confirmed the misunderstanding. She acknowledged that the HOA had assumed the construction delay was related to my ranch without first verifying the utility information. The construction crew resumed preparing their equipment while waiting for the temporary pipeline maintenance to finish. Meanwhile, I continued servicing my private well, knowing the scheduled work would help keep the ranch's water system reliable for years to come. The next morning, I reopened the private water system after completing every inspection on my maintenance checklist. Pressure returned gradually through the ranch irrigation lines, and each gauge showed normal operating levels. Everything was running exactly as designed. Outside, the ranch irrigation sprinklers came back online one section at a time. Fresh water spread evenly across the pasture, while the livestock calmly grazed nearby. After a full system check, every zone was working perfectly. Around lunchtime, the construction foreman stopped by to share an update. The temporary construction water line had been repaired, and the project was back on schedule. He thanked me for taking the time to explain how the ranch system operated. Later that afternoon, Linda returned with updated engineering documents prepared by the construction company. Together, we reviewed the corrected utility plans and confirmed that future maintenance notices would be shared before any nearby work began. By the end of the day, everyone had a clearer understanding of where each utility line began and ended. Accurate records Respectful communication and careful planning solved the issue without anyone needing to guess. It was a simple reminder that facts are always stronger than assumptions. A week later, the county utility office mailed updated utility reference maps to every property owner along the lake. I added my copy to the ranch office records, knowing it would make future maintenance even easier. The construction company installed permanent identification markers above every underground utility connection. Bright color-coded signs made it easy for future crews to recognize which systems belonged to the ranch and which served the development. Several neighboring property owners stopped by to ask how I organized my maintenance records. I showed them a simple filing system with permits, inspection reports, and service schedules that made finding information quick and easy. The sheriff's deputy also stopped by during a routine patrol. He was pleased to see the updated utility markers and complimented everyone for resolving the misunderstanding through cooperation instead of conflict. As summer came to an end, I completed one final inspection of the ranch water system. Every valve, pump, and pipeline operated perfectly, giving me confidence that the system was ready for another season of dependable service. Early the next month, I installed a weatherproof information board beside the ranch entrance. It displayed emergency contact numbers, utility maps, and maintenance notices so anyone arriving at the property could quickly understand the layout before beginning work.